The good news is the guy who had the car before me put in all new vacuum lines. But the bad news is he kind of hooked them up to the wrong spots. So this week in the garage, I'm going to hook up the vacuum lines correctly, swap out a leaking EGR, and see if I can get this car running right. Before I do anything on this car, I got to thank the people on the Crossfire and the C4 Facebook groups for helping me out on this one, because before I got into this, I was super confused. And honestly, it took me about a week of asking questions and looking at diagrams and things to get this little thing figured out. And I don't think I would have been able to do it without the people on Facebook. So thank you. Specifically, 1984 C4 Corvette guy who has an awesome channel. So I was watching one of his videos when I realized this was going to my air filter cleaner, air cleaner. And that is supposed to be capped. With one of these. A smaller one of these. I'll circle back around to that. Anyway, this is what the air cleaner is supposed to be hooked up to. But it leads to this, which leads down to this, which leads to various places. And that's not right. Pull that. Cap that. This is the one that goes to the air cleaner. So now that is correct. All right, so we got this far port going to the air cleaner. We got the middle port capped. That's for testing purposes only. This one is good. Going to the map. This one here is attached directly to the manifold. There's one on the left, one on the right. The one on the left goes out here. The one on the right goes to the brake booster. So the one on the left is one that's all discombobulated. It does connect to the PCV, which is correct. But then this situation is not right. So we have this one that was previously going to the air cleaner. Removed. And then we have this one going down to this T. Removed. Oh, car's wrong. Car is in neutral. Okay. So this T should just be hooked up directly to this. One of these lines, if I can get it, goes to the vacuum ball. And then the other one goes to the cruise control servo. That's specifically for the guy who razzed me about not knowing what that thing was called online. The cruise control servo. Thank you for educating me. Truly appreciate it. I'm going to cut these off and kind of get some fresh ends. Okay. I think it doesn't. Oh. 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 Not good. Well, I'm going to need a new one of these. Check valves. So it looks like I'll be taking a little trip to the auto parts store. But in the meantime, it holds on there enough so I can just stick it on there and for testing purposes only. As soon as I get done with everything else, I'm going to go to the store and get a new one. Before I head to the parts store, I am going to fix another issue that I found. If you watched my last video, I did a smoke test on this thing and found that I was getting leakage here, where this goes into there. It's getting a lot of smoke rolling out of there, creating a pretty significant vacuum leak. So I'm put one of these on to snug it down a little better. Spin that around to here for easy access. There we go. So yeah, it took me 7 days of online research to figure that out. That little bit of stuff, the whole week. And it took me about 10 minutes to actually do it. 7 hours of research, 10 minutes of work. Another thing I found on the smoke test was that the EGR was leaking. So I'm going to go ahead and swap that out too. I'm using a 3/8 flex head gear wrench. You know, when I actually get this car drivable, I'm going to take it to the National Corvette Museum in Bowling Green, Kentucky, which is about a 6-hour, I think about a 6-hour drive from here in southern Illinois. So I'd like to have this car dependable enough to drive about 12 hours without having to have one of those pull over and fix my car on the side of the road shows, because I'm not that talented. Pop off this line here. Oh! Next thing I'm going to do is just clean up this old ruckus that is on this mating surface and get that nice and clean before I put the new one on. I'm just going to put this rag in here. One in here to block up both those holes. I don't think it's good for anything to go in there. I would assume. I'm just getting a razor blade and hacking off that built up stuff. Flip those rags to the other side. Trim that up. I'm just going to use this little block to just kind of clean up the rest. Yes, there's a chance some stuff just fell in those holes. Doing that. And we're going to live with it. Hope it's okay. Boom, clean enough. New part. New gasket. These are different. I'm not sure why they're different. So the old one has an outie, and the new one has an innie, or at least no outie. And what you're supposed to do is find the part number that is on the old EGR, compare it to a chart that came with the instructions, find the number of ring that corresponds to that chart. However, my chart only comes with Chrysler, but it says this is the right EGR. So another thing you can do is just kind of look at them, line it up, see which one matches closely, and go from there. I think I just spent about an hour online looking. So my most educated guess, I'm going with number 46. So here's a close-up of that. Maybe. Old, new. Put that in there. And then you're just supposed to hit it with a punch like 4 times along the edge to try to get it to sit in there. So I'm going to give that a shot. That didn't work at all. The instructions are really, to me, not the best instruction reader in the world. Extremely unclear on how you're supposed to center punch. We're going to use RTV. Just a touch of RTV. I didn't tell you to do it this way. I told you to center punch it somehow over the edge. As the thinnest, almost non-existent layer of RTV I could possibly put on. It's just to hold it there long enough to get it on there. All right, I'm gonna let that sit for a little bit. Okay, that's in there. Put the gasket on. Set it in place. Align. Get it hand tight on each side. And then, of course, torque to the manufacturer's specifications. Which is exactly that much. Well, that looks nice compared to the old rusty, corroded one. Fancy. I guess just... Well, this tube's been rode hard and put up wet. The tube is too big to fit on there correctly. And then there's just a wire on here holding it on. And I'm not here to talk smack on the guy before me, because you see my skills. I'm making it up as I go. I think that's installed. I don't know. I guess I'm 85% sure that's right. You may have also noticed that my valve cover's on backwards. The oil fill should be there. When the air cleaner's on, it covers that up. So you have to take the whole air cleaner assembly off to put oil in. So that's why I've had this seafoam sitting around. So remember to put it in there before I put the air cleaner back on. have just enough left in this can. It's like, if I can get it open, from a previous usage, perfect amount. That's like 5 ounces. That might be on the light end, but I'd rather go a little bit light on adding this to the crankcase like that than too much. And then you run this for a few hundred miles before you do an oil change. And it's supposed to clean that out. So I believe what I'm going to do is put the air cleaner back on and get it all buttoned up tonight. And just kind of start it, let it idle, see how that goes. And then tomorrow, I'm going to go to the auto parts store, get that new check valve, and finish the job, run it for a couple days, and report back on how this whole situation is going. All right. 30 hours later, I got the air cleaner on. And I'm just going to fire it up, see what happens. Yes. Yes. It's Tuesday. Sunday, I drove it. Drove good. Monday, I didn't drive it at all. Just came out here, fired it up, fired right up, went to 1200 RPM, and then idled down to between 800 and 900 RPM. No smoke. There's no overpowering gas smell in my garage or on me. I'm going to call that a victory. It's nice to end a video with a positive outcome. I think I'm going to wrap that one up here. Made some good progress this weekend. Thank you so much to everyone who has subscribed. And I can't wait to see you next weekend in the garage. Thank you.